Starting with the quarterback, St. John Bosco's DJ UIAGALELEI, Mater Dei's Bryce Young, and Duncanville's Jaquindon Jackson were all first-team selections. UIAGALELEI led the Braves to a state title and a spot at #1 in the final top 25 rankings, throwing for over 4,200 yards and had 48 touchdowns to only 2 INTs. Young accounted for nearly 5,000 total yards of offense and 68 touchdowns while leading the Monarchs to a spot at #2, and Jackson led Duncanville to its second straight top 10 finish, throwing for nearly 2,000 yards and rushed for over 1,000 yards and accounted for 37 touchdowns. 2020 Texas signee Bijan Robinson, 2020 Georgia signee Kendall Milton, and 2020 Clemson signee DeMarcus Bowman were the first-team selections at running back. The 3 first-teamers at wide receiver are Lone Star's MARVIN MIMS and a couple of future Ohio State Buckeyes, Rockwell's Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Southern Columbia area's Julian Fleming. 2020 LSU signee ARIK Gilbert helped lead Marietta to its first state title since 1967, and he is the first-team selection at tight end after having over 1,800 yards receiving and 15 touchdowns for the #7 team in the final top 25 rankings. The offensive line features Mater Dei's Miles Morale, 2020 Ohio State signee Paris Johnson Jr., St. John Bosco's Drake Metcalf, St. Thomas Aquinas' Marcus Dumerville, and 2020 Virginia signee Andrew Gentry. The 2 all-purpose selections are LANETT's Christian Story, who threw for over 2,600 yards and eclipsed the 1,000-yard mark on the ground while leading the Panthers to a state title and an undefeated season. 2020 Oregon signee Noah SEWELL is the other selection on the first team at the AP position after leading OREM to its 3rd consecutive state championship. He was the Tigers' leading rusher and tackler. The defensive line features 2020 Clemson signee Brian Bresee, the #1 rated player in the country, 2020 Alabama signee Chris Braswell, 2020 South Carolina commit Jordan Birch, and future LSU Tiger BJ Ojulari. Upland's 5-star Justin FLOWE leads the linebackers selected. The future Oregon Duck racked up 123 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, and forced 5 fumbles. 2020 Florida signee Derek Wingo, 2020 Clemson signee Trenton Simpson, and future Ohio State Buckeye Cody Simon joined Baby Man on the first team. IMG Academy is Elias Ricks, 2020 Georgia signee Kiwi Ringo, 2020 Utah signee Clark Phillips III, and St. Francis Academy's Luke Hill are the 4 first-team defensive backs selected. And for a complete look at the second team, just go to MaxPreps.com. The junior, sophomore, and freshman teams will be announced on January 7th, 8th, and 9th respectively.